It's actually happening. And as trade rumors continue to escalate surrounding Timothy Liljegren and the Toronto Maple Leafs, all signs are pointing to him making his debut on Wednesday, as the Leafs are making several moves, including changing the power play surrounding OEL. We're going to break that down, discuss what it can mean, as well as discuss some new reports that have surfaced, some updates surrounding Timothy Liljegren's trade status with the Leafs. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. If you're part of the 70% who aren't subscribed to the channel, we in the world of Darius and myself, you could hit that button. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Hopefully you're enjoying your day off if you're in Canada. But let's dive right into it, Darius. A lot to go over today, and just tons of things going down. The Leafs practice today. We got a lot of insight surrounding OEL, surrounding Timothy Liljegren, and surrounding some new trade reports and rumors. You can see this here. Timothy Liljegren is paired up with Benoit at Leafs practice today. Looks like he might make his season debut on Wednesday. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this first. We have some other updates as well, but it seems like after all this time, all signs are pointing to Timothy Liljegren making his debut on Wednesday amidst all these trade talks, all these rumors and all this speculation. It seems like something worked. It's unclear as of this moment who's out. We would assume Conor Timmons, but he is preparing to make his debut on Wednesday against the Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised. And it is Conor Timmons that's coming out in replacement of Timothy Liljegren on that third pairing. So it looks like Liljegren will finally get into game action this season in their fourth game against the LA Kings, like you mentioned, Wednesday, and Conor Timmons will be coming out. And I mean, like Steve Dangle said, and we'll get to his tweet in a second, I have to agree with him in the way of, and I think a lot of Leaf fans, that just because he fell down the depth chart doesn't mean that he wasn't going to get into a game ever again, right? Like exactly this, like just because he had a poor preseason doesn't mean we were never going to see him again. The Leafs bought themselves time here, about a month's time. We're on November 1st. They're going to have to make a trade by then. And you know what? Liljegren can play his way back into the lineup in that time. Do I think it's possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it likely to happen? Probably not, right? But I do think it's possible. So they're giving him a shot here to get in game action, see what he can do against the LA Kings on Wednesday. And again, it's not over yet. We don't know exactly what they're going to do. They bought themselves about, I guess at this point, 2 more weeks worth of time to kind of make a decision here on who they want to move off of, because the fact of the matter is they're going to have to move off of either Liljegren or a couple other guys, right? So it might be easier to move off Liljegren, but we'll get to that later in the video as well. But it looks like they're at least going to give him a shot here, but I don't know if the plan is to keep him around long term. It's just maybe rest Conor Timmons at this point, or just see what Liljegren has.
Yeah, I think at this point it's literally just you have so many defensemen that you may as well give Timothy Liljegren a chance out there. And Craig Berube spoke out a little bit. And again, we've been talking about a lot of different things. And Craig Berube basically just said, I think he's been practicing well. I've talked to him a little bit ago, and I think his practice is even better, more intensity, doing things quicker. Chances he'll play on Wednesday. So again, all signs are pointing to him making his season debut here. And you mentioned the Dangle thing, and it's just very interesting at this point that with the way everything has gone with Timothy Liljegren, we both thought that he was going to get traded. We know there's been some rumblings from Elliott Freeman basically saying that he's not happy with his current situation. He thinks, and I mean, all signs, all advanced analytics, we looked at some of the JFresh charts a couple videos ago, like he's an average to above average defenseman, at least last year at times. Now, will he be able to sustain this is the question, but defensively, he had a solid year last year. The Leafs won a lot of their minutes with him out there. But one not concerning thing necessarily, I want to get your thoughts on this. The Leafs are playing very good hockey, especially defensively, only giving up, I believe, 5 goals in their first 3 games. Changing up the defensive pairing is interesting. I thought they were going to ride out the Conor Timmons thing. I think he was probably one of the worst players out there on the ice in last game, but I think he had an okay game. He had a lot of shots on goal, but I guess they want to change things up. But changing it up after having back-to-back wins is an interesting choice, especially given the fact that they just had now 3 days rest before their game on Wednesday.
It is, but it's a non-issue to me, and I don't know how the fan base is going to react to this, because obviously you want to keep winning, but you're switching out one guy. The signs are so far that things have been changing and the systems have been working, at least 5-on-5, right? And the penalty kill has been better. We talked about it in a video yesterday. Penalty kill, at least defensively, has looked a lot better this year. It's not great, but they can work on a couple things. But at least 5-on-5 things have looked good. So just plucking one player out and replacing him for Liljegren, just to see what Liljegren has, I think is a non-issue for me. And if he doesn't have it, I think he's playing at this point for his spot. Like, he has a lot of pressure coming into Wednesday, Liljegren, this is, to perform, because if he doesn't, I mean, he's already on the outside looking in. The only reason they're putting him in here, I think, is to get a look and see, can he change our minds, right? I think that's what the point is now, because all signs point right now to the Leafs trading him. He is the odd man out. He is the one that they are going to trade come November 1st or before then, right? So there's a lot of pressure on him coming into Wednesday, but in terms of the overall team, I think they just got to keep doing what they're doing. And if, he doesn't look good on Wednesday, then he might not play again, right? And that'll be it. And they obviously, I think that they're going to give him a bigger sample size. Like he might play Saturday too. Like I don't think, if he has one bad period, they're going to make a decision, but he's got to show something on Wednesday to really change their minds, because he's the odd man out. But I don't know if changing him at this point, like we're still within 10 games into the season, right? I would be more cautious of doing this, halfway through the season, but right now they got to see what they have, because they could be making a mistake. We don't know, right? Liljegren could play his way back into the lineup. I just think it's unlikely.
Yeah, and we've been seeing some more reports come out. Brad Sullivan is actively working the phones to trade Liljegren. Moving a guy with his salary, given a spot in the depth chart, isn't an easy task, or the deal would already be done. So again, that's part of the reason why I'm sure they're putting him in there. If they would have been able to get a trade done for Timothy Liljegren, they probably would have done that already. They're happy with their defensive core, and this is all without Yanni Hakanpää. You have Philip Myers in the IR as well. So there's a lot of different things that are going on right now, but let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Timothy Liljegren situation. A very interesting one to monitor, especially as we approach that November 1st deadline, where they're going to need to make some sort of subsequent move. But I want to touch on this here, and finally, they must have seen our video yesterday when we talked about the Leafs power play, as they have changed up the power play units significantly here. So OEL is now moved to the top line along with Marner, Nylander, Matthews, and Nyes, and the power play 2, Riley shifted down with Domi, Bobby McMahon, Nick Robertson, and Max Pacioretty. So Darius fans are very happy about this. I saw the overwhelming sentiment was these are perfect. Would you have any changes? I really like it. Obviously, the biggest change here is they swapped OEL and Riley, which was one of the things that Berube hinted at after last game. And we saw briefly, I believe at the start of the third, but at some point last game, they moved him up a little bit. But OEL now to power play 1, moves the puck well, shoots well from the point. It makes a lot of sense here for the Leafs.
It makes a lot of sense. And that was the move that they had to make. But I do still think they can make a couple moves. And when looking at these lines, keep in mind that right now, today, Monday, Thanksgiving, Tavares is out with an illness, right? So he's going to be back as well. He'll probably be back for Wednesday. And they were practicing this morning. I hope every Canadian on the team got their Thanksgiving dinner out of the way on Sunday, by the way, because they were practicing on Thanksgiving Monday. But I would suspect that Nyes will come out and Tavares will go onto that first line. And that's fine. Experiment with that. If it's still not working, then maybe you move Marner or Nylander to the second unit, bring up somebody like Robertson, just start playing with things. But obviously, like we've been talking about OEL on the first line, he's another shooting threat. And from the point, which the Leafs have not had on the power play in a long time. I do not consider Riley that. So they needed to switch something up. They're doing that here. But again, Tavares is going to come back. So he'll be there as well on that first unit, I would suspect. But they need to start moving more. That's all I can see from the power play 1 unit, that they got to start moving for each other and being more direct. They got to get to the net, because if OEL is that shooting threat and they are going to use him to the best of his ability, somebody's got to get to the front of the net, because it doesn't matter if he shoots it and the goalie is able to see it, he's going to stop it, or they're just going to clear it, whoever they're playing. So they got to do a couple things different. It's not just personnel, but I think the personnel needs to be shaken up as well. And they've done that a little bit here. Maybe they can mix and match one other player, but obviously you want to have your best players out there as well. But if it's not working, change it up. It needs to get going on Wednesday. If it doesn't, then I think it's time to start panicking a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, they're 0 for 9 to start the year. Again, I'm not on the train yet of having to panic, but you mentioned it. I mean, they have another couple games without scoring. It's supposed to be a very good power play. And you look at the players there and the personnel, like on theory, on paper, it should be one of, if not the best power play, alongside a couple other teams, obviously Edmonton and teams like that in the league. But unfortunately, they haven't been able to do it. It dates back to the playoffs when they played the Boston Bruins. But let us know in the comments your thoughts on this. Any other changes you would make to this power play unit? But that'll wrap it up. A lot of moves are going on. And again, hopefully, the Toronto Maple Leafs, again, you mentioned it, hopefully John Tavares gets healthy, and hopefully Timothy Liljegren shines and either forces himself to get in the roster more or opens himself up for other teams to be more interested in trading for him. But let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.